it's time for IP in the news. And I know you've all been waiting to hear this, but at last, Sherlock Holmes copyrights have expired. So the way it works is you get a copyright for your life plus 75 years. And then after that, it enters the public domain and anybody can use it. So,
So I could record a song called The Hound of the Baskervilles then? Not that anybody would want to hear me sing.
I think that would it has a good rap ring to it. I mean, I think it could really get out there. No, there's a lot of other famous works that are going off copyright right now. I'll just mention a few of them. Der Steppenwolf by Hermann Hesse, a favorite. You've read Hermann Hesse, haven't you?
I have not read that book.
I've
read most of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's books, but I have not read that.
Okay. And America by Franz Kafka?
No.
No. Okay. Well, how about some things you might recognize? Some songs. Funny Face and It's Wonderful by Ira Gershwin and George Gershwin.
Yes, I know most of the Gershwin works.
Okay. And I Scream, You Scream, We All Scream for Ice Cream.
Oh, I love
we
that
can
song.
use that now. Yeah.
We can.
Yeah.
So how would people use it though?
They would sing it. I mean, I thought that I never knew that was still on copyright. I've heard it a long time, many times before. So, I mean, there were some copyright violators out there.
Or they got a license, so.
Well, does that even seem like possible? I mean, who do you call for the I Scream, You Scream, We All Scream for Ice Cream license? I don't know. And then finally Putting on the Ritz. And that was written by Irving Berlin. And so that reminds me of Dr. Frankenstein. Do you remember the Gene Wilder in that scene? So anyway, all of these songs are going off and copyright now. And so we'd like to ask our distinguished guest, I guess.
I just want to remind you something first. So there was an earlier show where Winnie the Pooh went off copyright. And people took Winnie the Pooh and did very twisted and strange things with it. So
yeah, they turned him into a serial killer.
Right. It was a horror thing. So I'm hoping that this gets a little better treatment.
Right. And I think by publicizing all of this stuff, I think we're going to be enriching the cultural community because maybe some of these things will come back again, but and maybe in a better form. Who knows? But anyway, it's time for Richard's Roundtable. And I'd like to ask our guests today what they think about all of this new stuff coming off copyright. And Brian, welcome to the show. So great to have you with us. What do you think about all this stuff?
Thank you. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Some of the stuff I didn't know was on copyright. I remember hearing my kids singing a cappella groups using the some of those same songs. But and certainly the quote about ice cream that you quoted, I used to use with my kids all the time.
So it's I thought.
What about has the Oscar Mayer Wiener song come off? That's the other one we used to sing all the time.
How am I supposed to know that? So anyway, cool. We did the ice cream song a lot when we were younger, and we had kids. We still have kids, but when the kids were growing up. And it was a staple in our household, and I didn't know I was violating copyrights when I sang it. So that's pretty embarrassing for an intellectual property lawyer, don't you think?
No,
you don't. Oh, okay.
I only get mad if you try to make money from it, right?
That's you raise a great point. If you're running
around your house singing it to yourself, I don't think anybody cares.
Who cares? Yeah, I agree. So, Eric, what do you have to say about all of this?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. First of all, thank you for having me on the show today. I think with Chat GPT, OpenAI, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but I think a lot of these copywritten pieces are now going to be able to be reused in a way that's non-plagiarized, that we know isn't plagiarized. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check this out, but it was founded by Elon Musk in 2015 to make artificial intelligence open to the public. He left. They raised a ton of funding. Microsoft put a ton of money in. They just released Chat GPT a few weeks ago, or maybe a few months ago. but the capabilities of using artificial intelligence, and you can feed it copy and have it spit back out to you in a new form. So you could take some of these songs and turn them into your own jingles for your own company, and there'd be no copyright infringement. You should check it out. It is wild. I mean, it is absolutely wild what you're able to do. They used reinforcement learning to create this, and it's going to change marketing forever. And I really think there's going to be there's going to have to be some thought around the IP that's created, because you could literally go in and be like, hey, I want you to create an app that makes jingles, and it will spit out the code.
Right.
And then I want you to create a UI. Like, who owns that property now?
So that's actually a pretty big debate in intellectual property world right now about inventorship and ownership of AI created stuff. There was a Chinese company that made a 5-minute film entirely with artificial intelligence. That I wrote the script, it determined the cinematography, it selected the actors, and the whole thing it had graphic, and it was like pretty good. It was actually like pretty good. So anyway, Kenya, welcome to the show. So good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, and Happy New Year. I'm not sure how long we can say that for.
I think we can. Well, yeah, I think we can say it anytime.
Today's
right?
January 4th, so Happy New Year.
I think you got one more week.
One more week, and so it's annoying to everyone. So I think this is awesome. And when you said Putting on the Ritz, that was actually a pretty popular song. I feel like I heard it in a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's going to become available, like I definitely could hear a remix of some sort, maybe in a hip hop song somewhere. Who knows?
Right.
Absolutely.
So what is old is new again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So absolutely. John, what do you think?
Yes, well, I think the patent coverage should actually be longer. And on not just the written documents, but also physical products. I think there should be some kind of phase where, it transitions into a licensing agreement at a certain rate, but the ownership still covers for a longer period of time.
You sound like you have patents.
Yeah. Well, he happens to be a Gearhart Law client, right? So of course he knows a lot about patents. But yeah, I mean, I that's a little bit different from copyright, but it is kind of amazing that copyright you have a copyright until you're dead, and then 75 years later, your heirs can still enforce that copyright, right? So
right. So why can't patents be a little bit longer? I agree with John.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting approach that in some countries they do have, for certain types of technologies, compulsory licenses where, especially in the medical field, like Brazil, for example, if somebody needs it and you're not using it, you can be forced to license it. But the term of the patent is still 20 years. So, so I'm with you. Let's go lobby Congress to get the laws changed. That'll be good business for us. That's for sure.
I was about to suggest that, but
like not right now.
I was going to say
it's January 4th, and we want to get into that too.